Welcome to session 2 on Master PowerShell in the month of lunches. In this session, we'll discuss about the installation methods of PowerShell. Okay, so the PowerShell is now a cross-platform tool which can be installed on Windows, Linux, Raspberry Pi, MacBook, and so on. So we'll try and see how to install it on Windows platform and Linux platform. Okay, so there are many flavors or many types of installation that is feasible. So before we get into the installation demo, I'll quickly summarize if you have not seen my history of PowerShell video. So PowerShell up to version 5.1, from version 1 to version 5.1, it is called as Windows PowerShell, right? It is a native tool, part of your Microsoft Windows. Okay, you need not install anything, and it comes pre-installed, and it's part of your OS. And PowerShell core is something that you can install. So PowerShell 6.x, 6.1, 2, and 3, they are called as PowerShell core. This is the open source one, and this is a cross-platform. You can install it on Windows, Linux, and so on. And currently we have PowerShell 7, and that too it is 7.2.6 is the latest stable release, and we also have a preview one on 7.3. Okay, this is called as simply PowerShell. Okay, no other terms added. Okay, so this is the latest one. So this is the cross-platform open source, and this can be installed on all the supported operating system. Okay, let's start with Windows. Okay, let's see how to install it on. I'll also share the SOP document later with you all. But now let's quickly understand what are the different methods that you can follow to install PowerShell on Microsoft Windows. The general option that we do as an administrator is like the winget method, the Windows get method, or the Windows package manager method. So they call it as Windows package manager option, or Windows get method. So this is primarily used for the installation of PowerShell on Windows client. So in most of the cases, if you want to install it on an admin's PC, or you want to install it on a desktop operating system, so you go and use this winget. And in general, the MSI option, Microsoft Installer Package option, this is the best choice for all the Windows Server deployment, and also for any enterprise deployment. If you want to do some automation, or if you want to do some configuration management, then we generally use the MSI package. But if you want to have the package as part of your CI/CD pipeline, or if you want to use it as part of your DevOps tool chain, you can use the zip package. The zip package is actually having a lot of binaries and additional DLL and all the complete set of packages. So mostly it is used in conjunction with other CI/CD tools, but it is also a better method for installing it on Windows Nano server and Windows IoT server, and also on any Windows ARM-based processor machines. Okay, so if you have a non-regular Windows operating system like Nano server, IoT server, and ARM-based systems, then you can use the zip package. And if you're a developer, generally you can also use some third-party SDKs. But if you have .NET Global tool, so if you're a .NET developer, you can use the .NET Global tool method to install this particular PowerShell. Okay, this is mainly for .NET developers. And if you are having a client operating system like Windows 10 or Windows 11, you can go to the Microsoft Store and you can install this particular package, PowerShell package from Microsoft Store. But this is not a recommended method, okay, so because it has got some limited options and so on. So the best option is to go and install it using Windows Get, so that your package gets auto updated, and it's up to date with the latest releases. Okay, so there are 3 different versions that are available that are available part of your PowerShell. Okay, PowerShell generally comes with 3 releases. So we call it as a stable release, which is the recommended one for your production environment. We also have a long-term support release, which is having a longer duration in terms of support. And also we have a preview which doesn't have any SLA and so on, but then it will have all the up-to-date latest features and the enhancements. So you can also use it in your development environment, but generally for any of the production environment, we go and install the stable release of your PowerShell. So any of this you can go and download it from your GitHub portal. Okay, and I'll quickly show you that. So once after you log into your Windows operating system, server operating system, you can open any of your browser, and you can just go and search for also known as Microsoft / PowerShell -release . If you want to filter it by stable release, or if you want to filter it by long-term support release, you can just filter it by this way. Okay, now you can see the latest stable release that is available is 7.2.6. But then if you go and filter it by the preview release, you might get the 7.3 option, which is not yet into production support. See, it automatically redirected my request to 7.3. So it has got some more additional benefits and so on. So let me scroll down. Yeah, it has got a lot of new fixes and so on. But then I generally recommend to go and install the stable versions, not the preview ones. Preview one doesn't have any kind of support and so on. Okay, let me just go with the stable one. So let's go and download the stable one. If you want to download and install the older versions, you can directly go to your github.com/PowerShell releases. So here you can just find out all the different PowerShell releases that are available. If you scroll down, you can see 7.3 and the older versions like 7.2.6 and so on. So if you are looking for some older versions for your different operating systems, you can go and download the respective package for Windows and for Windows ARM processors, and for your Linux operating systems, you can go and download the respective required package. And even if you want to have the old version, you can go and install it. Okay, let me go and download the 7.2.6 version here for my requirement. And then let's go on to install it. So here I'll be able to find out the Windows x64 the MSI file. As I told you, the Microsoft installer package is the best option. But there are two different methods. See, if you want to install it on multiple machines, you can also use the group policy method, or you can use the MSI executable or MSI exec.exe file to go and install it in a silent method. So I can show you that quickly. If you want to use the silent method, there are a couple of switches that you need to follow along. See, you have to use this exe command, and you have to download that PowerShell package, that MSI file, and you can use the quiet command along with some more additional properties, like if you want to enable remoting, if you want to have a different location where you want to install, you can just go and change the path, you can go and change the PowerShell remoting requirement and so on. So you can directly go and double click on the tool, or you can also use the MSI executable option or executor option to go and install it from the command prompt. You can trigger it from a different machine also, and you can completely do it as a silent installation on the back end. So by default, when you go and install your PowerShell 7 version, by default, it gets installed in C program files PowerShell, and within that folder, it creates different numbers like 7, 6, and so on. Okay, if you want to enable PowerShell remoting, so these are the 5 different options that I have enabled along with the MSI executable command here. So if you look at the options here, so these are the 5 different options that this is referring in the command. If I want to enable it, I have to just give is equal to 1, which means I want to enable it. So generally, I can also do the same in the graphical installation also. If I'm going selecting it here, it means like we are enabling all the PowerShell remoting and the run with PowerShell 7 context menu, environment variable, and so on. So if the environment variable is set, you can execute the command, the PowerShell commandlets from any path. Okay, and if you want to install or upgrade update your not Windows PowerShell, the Microsoft PowerShell by using a Microsoft Update or WSUS, you can use this. Okay, you can enable that option. It is a recommended option, but in some organization they doesn't want to that to happen, and they just add any additional updates and so on after getting approval from the Microsoft. I mean the regular change process. I can just go and launch the PowerShell here. Okay, you can see that I've got the 7.2 version. Okay, 7.2.6 version is installed. By default, on your operating system, you get the PowerShell, but that is not the latest one. It is Windows PowerShell. By default, you get that. See, if you go here, you can see that there is a default PowerShell that is available. And if I just go and run it as an administrator, the same command, you can just try to run it. Okay. It will be 5.1. That is the default one on your Windows 2019, or so that is the last version that Microsoft released with branding of Windows PowerShell. So this is Windows PowerShell. Okay, so now let's cover up the other options. So I'm able to install the 7.2.6 version, and this is how you have to do it. Okay, and if you want to use the other method, there are different commands like for winget and so on. So I can just quickly show you that. I don't want to go through each and every option or to explore these options. I don't want to go and install it on different machine. The command is winget install -id Microsoft PowerShell. You can get it using this command. And if you're using Windows 11 or Windows 10, it comes, the winget tool set comes by default. Okay, zip package is very straightforward. Just like your MSI file, you'll get the zip package exe, and you can install it using that. The advantages of zip package is that you get all associated contents along with that. For example, if you want to use the um, what do you call the WS man for remoting, or if you want to have all the binaries and DLL files, and if you want to use it on ARM based processor machines, you can also use the zip package. Zip package has the adequate contents, or the archive has got all the deployment scenarios covered, like for Windows Nano and the regular Windows Server client, IoT ARM. So this has the complete end-to-end contents of your package, including the binaries, the DLL files, and so on. Okay, so the .NET Global tool, it is also pretty straightforward. You need to use the .NET tool space install command, and you have to just give -- global space PowerShell. It's also a pretty straightforward command to run, but you need to have the .NET Core SDK component installed. And if you want to install it from the Microsoft Store, you can also do that. See, for example, if you just go and open up the store here, and not in this machine, even you can do it on any of the machine there, but I'm just going to open up store PowerShell. Or else I can directly go to the internet and then get it from there. So I want to just go to Microsoft Store, and I want to just download the PowerShell. Okay, so you will get it in the Microsoft application list. So not this one. Okay, it should automatically redirect you to the PowerShell module, PowerShell store. So this is not the way you have to do it. I'll just quickly show you. Okay, let me get you that. So if I just scroll down, you will be able to see that option on how to do it on from Microsoft Store. Okay, so here you can just say get it in Store app. You'll get the Microsoft uh, PowerShell, so the task-based automation tool. Okay, so you can also get it in the Store app. Okay, if you're using the client operating system, it's pretty straightforward. So now let's also see what is the option on how to install it on your Linux operating system. Linux operating system, it is also pretty straightforward. So there are two different, for example, it depends on what kind of Linux operating systems you have got. If you have got Alpine or Debian, or if you have got a different flavor of operating system, Linux operating system, the command will be different, right? For your what do you call, for your Alpine, you use APK command, and for your Ubuntu, you use apt-get, and for Red Hat Linux, we use yum command. But if it is latest RHEL 8, we use command called DNF. So DNF is the package manager. So based on your operating system, you either use the yum command or you use the DNF command. So I've got I've got a machine which is running on Red Hat 7.2, I guess. So let's go and explore that. Let me go and copy the IP address of that machine, and I'll show you how to install it on the Red Hat Linux. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, there is nothing much to explore, but just get to understand the steps that is involved. Okay, so 20. Let me go and open up the connection dialog, because I see that it has got a different IP. Okay, let me connect. So the first thing is go and check the repository. Okay, you need to understand whether the Microsoft repository is connected or it's added. Okay, let me show you the command. Sorry. So here you have to go and add the repo from Microsoft. Okay, the Microsoft package is repo. So it has got downloaded, and you can see that the Microsoft.com repo for RHEL 7 is now added. So whatever the package that you want to install, like the PowerShell and so on, I'm also assuming the answer is yes, and I'm going to use the sudo yum install PowerShell command. Okay, now it will go and download the package from my repository. It goes and checks on the Microsoft repo that we just added, and it has installed. So once after you do that, you just go and run the command pwsh to launch the PowerShell. Now I am in the PowerShell. You can start running all the PowerShell commands here. Yeah, that's it. So you can see that we are in the PowerShell prompt. And if you want to exit out of the PowerShell prompt, you can just give exit. So similarly, if you're on your Windows, if you want to launch your current PowerShell and on the previous one, the commands are different. See, if I just go and type PowerShell, it will open up the older option as well as the new one. But if I go to the run and if I type pwsh, it will open up the new latest 7.2 PowerShell version. But if I go to the run prompt and if I type PowerShell, it will open up the older 5.1 version. So both the versions can coexist. That is one another beauty. So if you have the major releases, you can have different versions that can coexist on your machine. So this is how you go and install it. There are multiple methods that are supported, and the different options, each install method is designed to support different scenarios and workflows. So choose the method that best suits your need and that is compatible with your operating system. So thank you for joining and listening.